All right, differentiate implicitly to find the slope of the curve at the given point. So I have 2x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the derivative of both sides with respect to x. Okay, so first what I'm doing is I'm taking ddx. Oh, hold on. I'm taking the derivative of 2x squared. Okay, and I will add it to the derivative of 5xy. 5xy, and then I'll add it to the derivative of 5y squared ddx, 5y squared, and I think I'm almost done. Last one, plus derivative of 14y. Okay, well, because, look, if I take the derivative of -8, that's going to be 0, right? So I can write -0 here, but I really don't need to, right? And on the other side of the equal sign, if I take the derivative of this 9, I will also get 0. So I'll put the 0 on the other side. So I have these 4 things to take care of now, okay? So let's focus on the red one. Okay, and this one's not bad, okay? Because we're taking the derivative of 2x squared with respect to x. Notice there's no y, right? So you do this just like how we do all the other derivatives. So we do 2 times 2 to get this 4, and the exponent goes down to 1. So the red part is going to be 4x. Now look, for the second, we have a product, okay? So here's the product. We have this 5x times y. 5x times y. So I'm going to use the product rule to do this, okay? So product rule says do first times the derivative of the second. What is the derivative of y with respect to x? That's going to be dy dx plus, let's go on with the product rule, second times, which is y, the derivative of the first. Now, derivative of 5x is just 5, so let me just stick that in front of this y, okay? All right, all good. I'm done with the orange part. Let's move on to the green part. Plus, let's take the derivative of 5y squared. That's going to give me 10y, but I also now need to multiply by the derivative of this, okay? Derivative of y with respect to x. That's going to give us dy dx, okay? So multiply this by dy dx. All right, moving on to the very last blue term, plus derivative of 14y is 14. But look, I need to multiply this by the derivative of y with respect to x. So that's where we're going to get another dy dx. So remember, anytime you're doing an implicit differentiation and there's y, you will want to write down dy dx, okay? And all this equals 0. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all my terms, okay? And some of them, if it has dy dx, I will circle them, okay? If it has dy dx, I will circle them. So look at this first one. This plus 5x times dy dx. It has dy dx, right? So I circled it. What else? This 10y times dy dx. So that's going to stay on this side too. Lastly, this 14 dy dx. So these are the terms that have dy dx. So these will stay on the left side, okay? Now look, the ones that doesn't have dy dx, like 4x doesn't have dy dx, right? So I'm going to move that to the other side of the equal sign. And this 5y, choose to be positive on the left, that's also going to the right side. So here's what I have left, okay? I have this 5x times dy dx. What's next? Okay, this one moves. So I have now plus 10y times dy dx. And lastly, I still have that blue plus 14 times dy dx. Now on the other side, we have some newcomers, right? All right, let's see. So these two terms that didn't have dy dx just got moved to the right. So this positive 4x is now minus 4x. So that's how we move it. We subtract 4x from both sides. And this positive 5y is now negative 5y on the other side. Okay? Now, the reason we just kept all the terms that has dy dx on the left, and if it doesn't have dy dx to the right, is because I want to now factor out this dy dx. Look, now all of them have dy dx, so I'm factoring this out. I'm going to write this in front of a big parenthesis. So here's dy dx that I factored out, and we're going to write down what's left inside, okay? So let's see what's left inside. From the first term, we have this 5x, so write down 5x. From the second term, I have this plus 10y, so you write that down. And from the blue part, what's left? This plus 14. And all that equals the same thing, still waiting, okay? Now, we're one step away. Dy dx is currently getting multiplied by this colorful parenthesis. So we're going to divide both sides by 5x plus 10y plus 14. So here's your final answer. Dy dx is equal to, on top of the fraction, you keep this original right side of the equal sign. Okay? In the bottom of the fraction, you will divide by this. Okay? And that's how you differentiate implicitly. Now we got one more part to do, right? So I'm going to move this to the side a little bit because now we found the derivative. They want us to find the slope of the curve at the given point. So I need this. I'm going to copy this to the side, okay? So I'm doing part 2 now. I now need to plug in, look at these x values and y values. X is equal to negative 2. See, they gave you right there. And y is equal to 0. So I just need to plug in, okay? So slope of the tangent line is equal to, on top of the fraction, I will have negative 4 times negative 2 minus 5 times 0. And at the bottom of the fraction, I will have 5 times negative 2 plus 10 times 0 plus 14. All right, let's do this. Okay? So I just plugged in x of negative 2 and y of 0. So if you simplify this, the numerator is positive 8, right? And the denominator is negative 10 plus 14, which gives me 8 over positive 4. So the final answer, the slope of the tangent line at this point is positive 2. So this really had two parts. So first finding the derivative, the dy dx, and then you plug in the x and y value they give you to solve for the slope of the curve at that given point.